There we go. I think I'm live. And then I'm going to, okay, hi everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm a little bit late. Technology moment. There's a lot going on here. Nobody cares about the technology. Let me go live over here. There we go. So now I'm live in many different places. Hello everybody. Happy Wednesday, May 7th. Hang on, let me move my screen around here. And yeah, there we go. Let me get rid of that so I can see. Okay. Whew, the tech. There we go. Screens for days. So anyway, happy Wednesday, May 7th. It's about 8:09 on the West Coast. This is my weekly riff with Rick. I made that up. Maybe I should call it. I'm wearing my Stay Grounded hat today, just so y'all know. I don't know what that means for you, but I think grounded is a choice. And whatever it means for you to remain grounded and stay grounded in the midst of all the what's going on outside of us. I was reminded this morning as I was doing my morning reading and meditation time and reflection time. I sort of do reflection time more than meditation time. I'm just going to double check, by the way, that streaming. Yeah, just got the oh, thanks, John. Little sidebar moment. If anybody's needing or wanting an amazing support person to make sure the behind the scenes of all this stuff works, let me know. Just direct message me. And Jocelyn in my world makes magic happen easily and effortlessly. So, you know, many of us who do this kind of stuff need people to make it look easy. And there's the tech side and the you know what I'm talking about. So let me know. You can just direct message me, and or Jocelyn, you can even put your information in there right now. Nobody's in connecting with Jocelyn and getting support in that arena. Anyway, I was reading and doing my reflection time this morning, and I was reading a book by a person. I'm not going to go into this book too much. I was in the spiritual domain, and about how we create. And all about our souls, right? Our souls. I just realized that, the ego, we need the ego to live in this earth plane and the physical reality in this relative world of, and then the ego kind of freaks out and gets upset, and, that's sort of ego based. And then she just reminded me in this book, I reread the chapter, the soul at a different level. It just can dance with all the things that are going on. It remembers, the soul is the inner life, and of course the ego is sort of the outer life, and they're both needed, right? But she was just reminding me this morning of things to do to sort of animate the soul and calm down the ego, right? So, which kind of leads me into the topic I want to talk about this morning, because it's one of my favoriteest ones. Favorite is the word, I just made it up. Hang on, I'm going to have a little cough. I'm working on this for a future book. And it's just something I want you to consider. Here's the viewpoint or the stand or the core belief of this book. By the way, books in the personal growth and leadership development and spiritual space, they need a core belief, right? You need a core belief, and you anchor your book onto this core belief, right? And you tell stories and you add to it, and you feed this core belief in a good book. By the way, that's the design of a workshop. That's design of a talk. You have a core belief, and it becomes the anchor. It's more like the body, and then you add parts to it to make this viewpoint that you have make sense, right? Because good tops and good books, and this is what people do, by the way, they're just based on a core belief of how things work or what you believe, right? Coaches, that's what they're did on, right? Here's the core belief about how to support a person to the next level of their life, right? So anyway, here's the core belief of this thing that I'm working on, and I think it's going to become a retreat. I think it's one of those things that it's like, I think this can become many things, right? So the core belief is I'm going to say our, not your. I'm going to make sure it includes me. Our relationship with everything creates everything. So I know it's feel very pedantic, sort of like, what? So let me double click on that, okay? Let me just say it again. Just as you hear it, kind of take a big deep breath and go, our relationship with everything creates everything. And So first of all, when you hear the word relationship, you think people, right? You just think people. My relationship with my neighbor, my relationship with my colleague, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with, we just think we go right to the people part, right? And we don't really generally think our daily lives relationship with the planet, although lots of people are telling us to have a healthier relationship with the planet, right? Or your relationship with your past. That's a good therapy conversation for many people. I need to work on my relationship with my past so I can have a better present, right? My relationship with the future, my relationship with fear, my relationship with joy, my relationship with love. It's just an interesting way to consider. And I really want you to, if you're listening to this now live, you can jot it into the comment, see them. But I really, as you do this today, just sit back for a second and go, really ask yourself the question, and, the end of the sentence is, you can put anything in it. How is my relationship with fill in the blank going? Because the coolest thing about the relationship is you can actually take more responsibility, because it animates and activates the personal responsibility moment, which is a gift. By the way, I believe personal responsibility is the most remarkable and should be something we should be wildly grateful for. The ability that I can change the relationship I have with fill in the blank is a remarkable sort of human, or I'll just say human concept, that we're able to change it and decide how we want it to be. Will it be that in mere seconds? Maybe. You can change your relationship with joy in a nanosecond. Because as soon as you think about it that way, it animates and activates, why don't I experience more joy? What is my relationship with joy? And you can go down that, you can go to the history. Joy was really not a part of my family experience. Every hard and suffering and struggling and, okay. But I can change it. I can actually have a different relationship with joy as an adult. Because that's the coolest part, is you realize, I can actually choose the relationship I want to have with fill in the blank. And I think we forget this. I just think we just forget. We don't think relationally. We think circumstantially, right? Here's the circumstance. Actually have this perspective or this paradigm called, what is my relationship with this? A lot of my clients, not a lot, I should say, a number of them have become wildly successful in the conflict resolution space. Like helping teams or different companies or different organizations who need to work together better, come together and, right? And this is a concept I've given them to have these people understand, first of all, relationship with the person. What's a team? What is my relationship with the person? What can I do to get better? And then, also have teams realize, they need, here's the cool thing to think about. It's like you have this person and this person, entity called, success. Okay, let's have a conversation, these two people, about what is my relationship with success. That hasn't come across people's minds to think that way. They don't think like that, So as you hear this morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this, just really step out. It's like a meta view moment and go, okay, what is my relationship with fear? Instead of I'm just having it, I'm experiencing it. Because the key part of this whole conversation in your head with another person, because I think that's why we have good coaches in our life and therapists and consultants, is basically what these people do is come along and have us develop healthier relationships with all aspects of the human condition. All aspects, right? Hello, Lara. Good morning. If you're watching this and you're kind of getting this, feel free to add a comment or add a question. But we're having this conversation this morning, it's my morning, about your relationship with everything, right? One of the things I keep having the intuitive hit. So one of the people in my lives, mentors, dear friend and a mentor, excuse me, there's many, many, many mentors in my life. I've had many mentors, and I've bought their workshops, I've been in rooms, I've been coached by them, I've been trained by them. I don't know why the one that comes to mind this morning is the organization at the time called Lucid Living, and Lizanne and Ginny Mancusi were names of the people who co-created this amazing organization. And you go on retreats, right? But one of the things I learned from them, which is kind of what I'm talking about here today, is that if I were to synthesize a lot of their work down, I'm really simplifying it. So Lisa, you're watching this. There's so much nuance to this, so bear with me. I'm kind of bottom lining it. But one of the things that I remember walking away with is how amazingly powerful and the concept of, as an adult, developing a healthier relationship with and abundance and a life that feels rich and dynamic and engaging, and kind of putting these retreats we went on many, many years ago, put us, the participants, in this resonance of that truth, that sense of, oh, we are developing, and again, I didn't have that vocabulary at the time, but now I'm looking back at it. I am developing an adult, responsible relationship with joy, with life at a level of experience that's rich and dynamic and amazing. And because they would create these amazing experiences for us to actually experience that. And then, of course, you experience it, and then you realize you just created this because you're in this, and therefore you can experience it again. So, that's one example. I could go down a list of many other examples of people who really had me understand, on a bigger level, that it all comes down to relationship with fill in the blank. And I'll go through life thinking like that. Now, the key to this whole conversation, many, many aspects to this, is, do you want a better relationship with it? If you don't, right, then, like, I don't want a better relationship with fear. I just have fear. I don't want a better relationship with joy. I just don't have it, or I have it, or I'm good, And I also just want to say, just be careful of that, because it's like there's a constant next level of a better relationship with, right? I have it with my family. I always wanted this level of my relationship with my family. I wanted to have a relationship with my, better, I mean, it's bad now, but it's the next level of the relationship with fill in blank. One of the hottest topics, as you all know, what is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with abundance? What's your relationship with other people who are doing work you do, right? Is it you sort of a jealous, and you just start to unpack that and look at it. And, this is where a good coach comes along. Let's unpack that. What is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with, a better future for yourself? What is your relationship with your career? What is your relationship with having a life that's incredibly dynamically alive and experientially amazing? And, and it reveals some possible inner voices of truth that are not really the truth. They feel like the truth. Well, you have to work really hard to get that, and only certain people get that, and the talented people have that, and the who knows, right? Those are those quote unquote, you've all heard the term, inner demon voices, gremlin voices that come in, right? And what we're trying to do here, and what I'm trying to offer here, is just catch it and go, I just say to yourself, I want a better relationship with this. I want a better relationship with this. And again, we don't think like that. We just say, I want this to be better. And I don't know how to make it better, but how you make everything better is to have a more conscious and a more intentional, healthier relationship with it. And we can take responsibility for that, right? And one of the first things you need to do inside this is forgiveness of past relationships and gone well. Relationship with fear. You can forgive yourself and go, oh, I've had a really bad relationship with fear. It takes me over, and oh my God, or your relationship, the other side of the coin, your relationship with joy at an extreme level. I don't even know what that means. I've never had a relationship with joy like that. I don't get to have a relationship like other people do. All that stuff. So lots of forgiveness. And that's the taking responsibility part. And if you think about it in a relational way with another human, if you want the relationship to be better, you go towards it and you say directly. And I've done this with my friends. I've done this with my family. I've done this with my clients. I've done this with my colleagues at work. You just go, I want us to have a better relationship, right? And most of the time, somebody on the other side will go, me too. Now, if they don't, or they kind of look at you like, what are you talking about? Then you have to explain. I just want it, I want it to be healthier. I want it to be more engaging, whatever it is, dare to say it, right? These are not normal day-to-day conversations. It can feel awkward, right? But most people will respond to that desire to, yes, I want this healthier too. I want this to feel better too, right? Now, the risk is in the relationship, in the human-to-human relationship moment, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's fine. Okay. So you can let it go or not. But many times it's like, I want this to go to the next level. I want this to be better. I want this to feel healthier. I want this to be, whatever it is. And this is this relationship building 101. We need it in our marriages. We need these with our kids. And it's not something we normally do. But the part I really want you to go away with from the conversation is, yes, there's the human-to-human, person-to-person relationship. But more importantly, what I want to consider this morning, or whenever you're watching this, is your relationship with the entities that we don't even have like you don't think about a relationship with joy. You don't think about a relationship with your future. You don't think about a relationship with your past. You don't think like that. But I really want you to think about that. Like, turn everything into a relationship. Just add that context to everything, right? What is my relationship to, the earth? It will just start to animate and activate without any guilt or shame. Just kind of go, I need to develop a healthier relationship with the earth. I need to develop a healthier relationship with, trees. I mean, it's sort of an interesting way to think about it, right? And I know it feels awkward. In the beginning, it'll feel awkward. But if you really can step back, right? I know it sounds odd, but in front of me, I'm looking up right now. I have all these books up here on the bookshelves above me, right? And I know it sounds really, really, maybe I'll sound crazy for a second, but what is my relationship with all the wisdom in those books? There's a lot of wisdom up there. And I have a whole nother bookshelf over here to the right. There's probably 200 books, right? And I said, what is my relationship with all the wisdom in those books? That's a weird question. Well, I could really be honest and go, my relationship with them is amazing. There's so much wisdom there, and I so appreciate them, and I can pick up a book at any given moment and reread it and find something new, and my relationship with them it's pretty healthy, right? So I know it sounds odd. It's not normal to think like this. Invite you to consider that this week, right? And what is your relationship? And coming back to core principle of this future book is your relationship with everything creates everything, right? And you can't really argue that. What I love about a core belief is when you step back and go, oh, okay, no wonder that's going. No wonder I feel sort of out of sync with that. I don't have a healthy relationship with that, right? And usually what we do in the person-to-person relationship model, I need them to be better, so I like them better. That's what we do a lot. That's a different workshop, but this is just about what is the relationship I want to create. And many times, by the way, you don't even have to explicitly say it to the person. Inside, you change your relationship with this person from an internal context and then collect evidence for that truth. That's what's sometimes amazing. I've led many, many retreats over the years, right? Leadership retreats, personal growth retreats. And I remember saying to many of them, because many of them, of course, the cohort group would develop amazing, healthy relationships or, intimacy in the group and connection and depth. And they would do a lot of I want my other life to be like this. And I literally would say to them, well, you don't have to explicitly go do anything. Just go home. Just decide in this room, in this circle, in this retreat, that that relationship is now different. Just decide it. And then go home and collect evidence for that truth. So many times they would come back at the second retreat or the third retreat or the fourth retreat or the fifth retreat or whatever I was doing. And they would come back and go, oh my God, I didn't have to do anything. They started to show up differently. So that's another doorway into the human to human relationship shift, is just change your relationship in your heart and in your mind and in your soul and in your energy with them, and then go collect evidence for that truth, because we're collecting evidence of the relationship we have, right? Like, oh, it's not working, and then we collect evidence. So you guys all know that concept, everybody. So, okay, there we go. Happy Wednesday. I'll include there. I'll leave you with one thing, just as a resource. This is an interesting concept. So recently I've launched a program called the Performance Academy, right? It's more like a mastermind, right? And what I help people do, by the way, is their front of the room performance, their essence, their energy, power, their certainty, their confidence, their commitment, rather, whether they do it one-on-one, whether they do it on a video, whether they do it on a workshop, but really people in their front of the room be more engaging speakers, facilitators, coaches, but the context we've been playing with, and it's a really triggering word, is, perform, the performer. It's called the Performance Academy. Like, well, I'm not a performer, right? But what we're working on and double clicking on a lot these days is, and it's just started, we're just out of the gate, is, having a better relationship with the entertainer in you, the entertainer. And really, people are like, I'm not an entertainer. That's not what I do. I didn't go to acting school. I'm not a stand-up. And actually, that's a word that has a lot of juice around it. But I am helping them realize, when they're very committed to something and they're very passionate about something and they're lit up about something, the entertainer comes through. I don't mean an entertainer like singer dancer, but the animator comes through. They breathe life into the concept, and they're very on fire, and their hands are waving and their voices are changing, and right, that passion comes right through the screen, right through the room, right? People are like, I'll have what they're having, because that's the ultimate goal in this program, is to kind of go, I'll have what they're having. They're so alive and dynamic. I want to be around them, right? So with that said, this is the resource I've created, and Jocelyn just put it into the various chat rooms that you're listening to, whether it's a Facebook page or Instagram. It'll be all over. It's a free resource. It's called Rick. It's in the chat. It's Rick Edutainer. So edutainer, you've probably heard the combo word. Marication with entertainer, edutainer, right? Because we have to be engaging. We have to be, right? You're going to decide this morning whether this was engaging or not. You're going to go, he lost me at that, or no, he was into it, or, right? But there are some principles and some ideas and some actual, dare I call them, acting school, because I was an actor for many, many years in New York City and LA, and the commercial game and some soap operas and not that big a deal, by the way. I was not a wildly successful actor. I was this much, right? Did a lot of out-of-town theater. But the principles, the point of this is the principles of becoming more engaging from a doing context is in this free resource, right? It has to do with your voice. It has to do with your body. Has to do with facial expressions. It has to, how do you be animator and frother? I love that word, a frother of your content, right? Because, content-wise, right, and concept-wise, nothing's really new. But you're the animator and the edutainer of the thing that has grabbed your attention. And so how do you do that? What does that look like? So this is a free resource to kind of give some ways to be very, and it's outside in, but it's your voice, it's about your tone, it's about your facial expressions, it's about your hands, it's about your body, right? Just notice I'm, intentionally doing it, but I'm very I'm in my body, I'm talking, I'm giving myself permission to kind of be fully animated versus the talking head of more information. Because, can we just be honest? We all know this, information overload, right? We got all the information we need, and now ChatGPT was doing it. The AI is doing it for us. I don't need to barely ever talk to another human about information, which is a little bit dicey. That's a different workshop. But you bringing the thing alive, you are the frother of the content, right? And that's the business I'm in these days. So anyway, grab that. I'm going to put in all the, thank you, Jocelyn, for doing that. By the way, you need help with this kind of work in the world and getting yourself in the world from a social media place or emails and all that tech and all that marketing and messaging and all that. Jocelyn is a wealth of support. So you can put your person in here as well. Please do. They want to contact you. There you go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope this has been useful. Just remember, I'll leave you with it's the final word. Your relationship with everything creates everything. Consider that and look at your life through that lens week. And just keep asking yourself, I want a better relationship with, right? I want a better relationship with, and fill in the blank, right? Because that actually animates and activates creative ways to figure that out. And just the mere act of you want it better, it will start to become better. That's the power of thought and the power of intention. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Let me close down some over here first. Let me do that. So, bear with